My mother-in-law and I don't get along. I know she doesn't approve, but thankfully, my husband is on my side. We recently saw his side of the family for an outing and ended up eating at a hot chicken place. My mother-in-law likes food really hot. She usually gets things as hot as they can make them and then says they could be hotter. Her favorite meals are ones she seems to be struggling to swallow. You get the picture. I'm a baby when it comes to spice, and my mother-in-law seems to judge me as picky. At the restaurant, you have the option of picking your spice level, so I picked light mild, and she picked Reaper. While we were eating, I bit into a tender, and my mouth exploded. It was one of the worst pains of my life, and I began yelling for water, which was embarrassing since we were in public. My husband couldn't figure out what was wrong, but I saw his stepdad and aunt smirking at each other, and mother-in-law looked pleased with herself. When I could finally speak, I said, "I know you did it," and she admitted to switching one of our tenders. My husband began screaming at her, and I saw red. I said what she did was assault, and if she ever messed with me again, I'd call the cops. I said I wasn't here for her amusement, but because her son loves me. And then I was like, "Oh, so you like pranks?" and poured a vanilla milkshake on her. Mother-in-law had no reaction to getting doused in a milkshake, but to be fair, she has almost no reaction to anything ever. I probably could have socked her, and she wouldn't have reacted. There was a lot of laughter from the table, but after that, I heard some people feel I had gone too far, or that I was crazy. Am I the idiot for considering what my mother-in-law did assault and pouring a milkshake on her as a reaction? Not the idiot. It might have been less bad if it had just been a normal hot chicken wing, but this is challenge level insane. It's in just put the pepper spray in your mouth territory. She deserved a milkshake bath. Hopefully your husband will go no contact with her after this stunt. I wouldn't allow her around my children either, because she's not safe to be around. Mother-in-law is psycho. People may not know this, but people who are not used to hot food can actually become very ill after a stunt like this. This would have given me massive cramps, and I may even have fainted and been in pain for several days. She knew darn well you didn't eat spicy food, and she pulled this stunt. It is an assault, and the fact that she had no reaction to the whole thing, she's psycho. By the way, keep sugar pockets in your purse, as sugar will stop the heat in your mouth instantly. Water and milk do nothing. I lived in Mexico for 8 years, and that helps so much. My dad once ate something incredibly spicy, some pepper, I don't remember which, and his throat started swelling up, and he was having a hard time breathing. This is a man who loves his spicy food too. I can't imagine not being able to tolerate spicy food and being slipped into something like that. And yeah, the whole no reaction thing is a huge red flag. Who has no reaction to getting a milkshake thrown on them? In public, no less. The rest of the family's pretty crappy too, for laughing and knowingly letting her eat it. Her having no reaction is part of her play, to show everyone that OP is the crazy emotional one, not her. It actually is assault. Any unwilling action against a person's body is assault. People have allergic reactions to spicy food all the time. Some people are hospitalized because they can't breathe. Some have actually died. It wasn't funny in any way. But OP, what will it take for you to stop entertaining these people? You don't want them to win? I get that. Then tell your husband that you're done and mean it. Otherwise, you're just letting them have their way anyway. The only thing they want more than you gone is to have an avenue to humiliate you. I, 45 female, used to be married to David, 46 male. We were together for 4 years and married for 5 years, from 18 to 27. I thought the relationship was going well until I discovered David was having an active affair with Claire, female, who was 25, 43 now. During that time, I collected evidence, consulted a divorce lawyer, and presented David with divorce papers. David did not protest and left me for Claire as she was pregnant, and I had trouble conceiving. However, through miraculous circumstances, I was found to be pregnant 4 months later as I discovered I missed a period and had a positive pregnancy test. Through my moral judgment, I decided to keep the baby and have primary custody as David was enamored with his new fling with Claire. I would give birth to a healthy baby boy, Max, and Claire would give birth to Nathan. Our boys would grow up to soon become friends and have a solid relationship, despite the tense nature of what transpired between David and me. The boys are now nearly adult and entering their senior year of high school. Nathan was over last weekend and seemed different, as his mood was sour, and he seemed upset. Sitting down with him, I asked what was wrong. Though he appeared apprehensive, he opened up to me about some relationship problems that he'd been going through. His girlfriend of 2 years had cheated on him, and he was having trouble dealing with the drawbacks of it. He asked me whether two individuals could reconcile after infidelity. I was honest with him and said that it depends on the individuals. However, it was often better if both parties moved on, as trust between them had been broken and not easily repaired. He seemed to take the answer in stride, but then asked me a question I wasn't sure I was prepared for. Is that what happened between you and my father? I confirmed that it had, which is why David and I divorced, that his father cheated on me with his mother, which resulted in his birth. He seemed conflicted and responded, "So it's all been a lie?" I asked him about that statement, and apparently, his father said that I cheated on him. I corrected him and even stated that he and my son are brothers with documents proving relation, as David initially denied paternity, and I've collected the evidence that was used in my divorce proceedings. He thanked me for the conversation and said he needed to go home now as it was getting late. I wished him safe travels and thought nothing else of it until a few hours later when I received an angry phone call from Claire blasting me for why she argued with her son. He went home to have it out with his father over this situation, but he wasn't home yet and couldn't wait. He had a very contentious verbal spat with Claire, calling her some unpleasant names I would not repeat. She's calling me a homewrecker, the irony in that statement, and that I'm an idiot for poisoning her son's mind. Am I the idiot for what I discussed with him? Oh no, he's been poisoned with the truth. Not the idiot. His dad has 2 sons of the same age and 2 different women. I'm surprised they hadn't already figured that out. Yeah, how did that conversation go? Son, I have 2 sons close in age with 2 different women. Clearly, my wife was cheating on me. It's only logical. OP, you told the truth. They lied to their child. Their fallout is their own fault. You have documented proof. Good job. Boo-hoo, poor Claire, poor David. Their karma came for them, and now she's blaming you? What a vile witch. She's got a hide to call you blaming you. She's clearly a few defective brain cells short of being an actual human being. Class act. Block the witch. Technically, all you did was confirm what the boy knew, really. I recently went on a date with a guy that ended oddly, so I need some outside eyes on the whole thing. I, 27 female, went on a date with a friend of a friend, Jake, 31 male. I had suggested coffee, but when he mentioned the restaurant he wanted to go to, I agreed. It is a nice place, and I've been thinking of going there. I figured, worst case scenario, I'd get a chance to check out the food. We had a nice time. I ordered drinks, appetizers, my main, and dessert. He only had water and his main. He tried some of my appetizers but said they weren't his thing. When the bill came, I told the waitress that we had separate checks, as this was our first date, and I always paid for myself on a first date. I emphasized it first because I thought it went well. He seemed like a genuine and pleasant guy. I was looking forward to seeing him again. I heard from my friend who set it up that Jake thought I was kind of an idiot for not telling him I was paying for my own meal. He only had water and a main because he thought he would be paying a lot of money for my food and drinks. He was upset because he would have liked to order more, but our bill was over $200. With a tip, I paid $145. I can understand why he would be upset, but I don't think that's on me. I always pay for myself on the first date, like I said, unless it's coffee. Men get angry sometimes if I don't let them buy me a coffee. I cannot be the only woman who pays for themselves, can I? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Is it better to specify in advance who's paying? Sure. Would it have been awkward to bring that up before a first date? Sure. So it is completely normal at the end of a first date to suddenly realize you had different expectations about who would pay. There's nothing wrong with your assumption that you'd split the cost. For him to think you were kind of an idiot for splitting the cost is absurd. This strongly suggests that there should not be a second date, given the disrespect he's shown towards you. He's not mad that you paid for yourself. He's mad that you didn't tell him ahead of time so he could have afforded to order himself more items. Bro should have chosen a restaurant within his budget. To be fair, it's really sad that men are so used to being expected to pay for a complete stranger's lavish meal that they often have to pick the cheapest option or go hungry to avoid going broke. I bet the idiot in this story is your friend. Your date might have just expressed that it was too bad he didn't know you would pay for yourself, because if he knew, he would have ordered more for himself. Notice that he didn't tell you this. He told the friend. Then your friend spreads the info to you, maybe with exaggeration, misinterpretation, or bad phrasing. If that's what happened, the guy did nothing wrong. If you like him, ask for a second date. And then if you want to, you can ask about the situation. This is a good comment. You should speak to the guy directly and ask him on a second date. Then you can mention what your friend said, and if you feel like it, apologize. Not for paying for yourself, but for the misunderstanding. But you did nothing wrong, so you don't need to apologize if you don't feel like it. I hope the food was yummy. So I, 24 female, recently bought a gorgeous fitted dress that I've been saving up for months. It's tailored for my measurements and is in the style of a lady-in-waiting dress from the early 1530s. It's a beautiful piece, made specifically for a Ren fair that I'm attending soon. I spent $2.5K on it, plus all the accessories. I've been looking forward to this event for ages and plan to wear this dress for the event. Enter my sister-in-law, Emma, 29. Emma and I have always had somewhat of a strained relationship. She tends to be a bit demanding and has always had this sense of entitlement, but I've tried to keep the peace for the sake of my brother and family harmony. A few days ago, Emma came over for dinner and saw the dress hanging in my room. My door was open and she went to the bathroom, and she immediately fell in love with it. Emma's quite a bit taller and heavier than I am, 4'11" and 110 to 5'9" and 200 pounds, so the dress would only fit her properly with significant alterations. She asked if she could borrow it for a party she's attending next weekend, because the theme is historical figures, and she planned to go as Anne Boleyn. I politely declined, explaining that I had saved up for it and was planning to wear it to my own event, and that the dress was more of a lady-in-waiting dress than a queen's dress. Emma didn't take this well. She started insisting that she needed it more than I did, that she had nothing else to wear, and that it would be selfish of me not to let her borrow it because I have other dresses I can wear. I do have other dresses that I've worn to Ren fairs before, but this is the first time I've had enough money to get a custom-made dress instead of sewing it myself out of thrifted items. I stood my ground, saying that while I understood her situation, I wasn't comfortable lending out something so expensive and personal, especially since it wouldn't fit her correctly. Things escalated quickly. Emma got upset and accused me of being selfish and inconsiderate, even saying I was calling her fat because I didn't think it would fit. My brother tried to mediate but ended up siding with Emma, saying that it wouldn't hurt to lend it just this once and she could make it work. This made me even more upset, and I might have said some things in the heat of the moment that I now regret. That even the tightest corset wouldn't let her fit into my dress, and that even if the waist, hip, and bust did fit, that she'd be dressed more like a prostitute of the era because her calves would be visible. I also told her it was likely she would tear or rip the fabric while trying to wear it. In the end, I told Emma that she was acting entitled and that just because she wanted something didn't mean she automatically deserved it. Emma stormed out crying, and now my brother's mad at me too. My parents think I should have just lent her the dress to keep the peace, but I feel like I have the right to set boundaries and not be pressured into giving up something important to me, especially something that would likely be damaged or altered significantly, even if it was just a dress. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister-in-law sounds like a freaking nightmare to be around. You're totally within your rights to say no. That is a very expensive dress. With as bad of an entitled attitude as she has, I would rather show up at her house and burn the dress in her front yard rather than lend it to her. Your brother was just trying to stand by his wife, but he's also in the wrong here. Tell him to fork over $2,000 so his wife can have a dress made in her size. She must have come up with that Ann Boleyn crap on the spot because I don't buy it. Why go as Ann Boleyn if you have nothing to wear? She didn't know you had the dress beforehand. For a party next weekend? What a coinky-dink. I've looked at restaurant menus far longer in advance than this woman has planned for this supposed event. Not the idiot for the stuff you said when you were mad. You're totally right. She is way too tall for that dress. Exactly. If she hadn't gone to the bathroom and seen the dress, what would sister-in-law be going to the party next weekend wearing? Her knickers? She sounds exhausting. Asking to borrow a $2,500 custom-made dress? Your sister-in-law is nuts on steroids. And no apologizing? Your stuff is not her stuff, and she can go stuff herself into her own stuff and tell your parents that your stuff is not theirs to lend. My 42 female and my ex 47 male divorced 1 year ago. Shortly after that, his girlfriend, aka affair partner, moved into the home we previously shared. I told him to keep whatever because I went to live abroad and basically just wanted out. I wasn't even mad at him for cheating. It was a dead marriage, and his affair being exposed became the catalyst for our divorce. So we got divorced and she moved in. We hadn't talked after because there was nothing left to discuss post-divorce. Then a week ago, I got a message from her. It was really upbeat. "Oh, I like the style of the house so much. Where did you get this fixture and these pieces of furniture?" I sat with it for a day and finally decided to message her that she could figure it out since she had it all figured out. She asked what I meant, and I told her. She obviously had everything my ex could ever want, and I was the one he didn't want, so she shouldn't try to imitate me. He clearly had a taste for something different. She messaged me back, saying she was just trying to pay me a compliment. Then my ex texted me, saying we were amicable before, so he didn't understand why I was causing an issue now. He's right that we were both over our marriage, but I felt like her trying to take over where I left off aesthetically was too much. My friends and family are divided. Am I the idiot? It sounds like she's trying to make friends, which is pretty messed up, to be honest. I would go ahead and block her. And if your cheating ex doesn't have any reason to be able to contact you, like shared assets or children, I would go ahead and block him too. Just because you're not mad or weren't mad that he cheated doesn't mean he didn't do something awful. And it doesn't mean he's a good person to have in your life, much like his sidekick. I think I would have answered her with absurd answers, such as the lamp being from the side chick boutique, the patio furniture from Home Record Depot, and the rug from the Secret Affair store. So no wonder you like it. OP, she's trying to prove to herself and others that she's really a good person who just made a mistake. See, his ex and I are good friends. We share decorating ideas. She's really a good person, and it was just true love. Even his ex-wife gets it. I bet it's this. She feels guilty that she was the dirty little secret he was sleeping with, and now wants to play housewife. Her contacting OP for decor tips was an extremely gutsy choice, and honestly, shameless. You banged this woman's husband and swooped into her home like a vulture, and now you're going to give compliments and play nice? Screw right off. Edit. Thanks so much for the responses and kind words. They gave me the clarity I needed and some thoughts about the situation that hadn't occurred to me. I went ahead and blocked them both. May they live long and lucky in their tastefully decorated home. Thanks, y'all.